We're starting off today with some Gandalf control. Although this version's a little bit got some interesting choices in it. We've got some time warps here to help you ult your Teferi faster. And we've got Teferi's protection, looking to protect Teferi. So this is interesting, especially because like if you play Teferi on 6 mana, you can untap 2 of your lands and then immediately protect Teferi with Teferi's protection. We have an incredible amount of win conditions in this deck. We have Brazen Borrower, 3 Shark Typhoons, 1 Castle Ardenvale, and then Teferi, Hero of Making People Sad. Is technically this is a win condition as well. Because remember, he's a mother tucker, and he can tuck himself again and again and again, and then your opponent tells him to tuck himself, and then he sits there and does that while your opponent decks out, and you exile all of their permanents with his emblem. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see if Teferi, Hero of Making People Sad, can accomplish his goal here this morning on the ladder. Well, this hand's not very exciting, but... Alright, out of the frying pan into the fryer. We got a couple of time walks here, which is nice. No play on 2 is real good for us. They have a stomp. Growl, Smash, Puny Gandalfs, yep. How many lands are we on is a question. He says, looking at his 2-lander on the draw. He asks himself, wondering what his odds to brick are. Is my cardboard live not working? I feel like my cardboard live's working. Well, we found a land. Shark Typhoon can kinda help us find a land. Yeah, deck's not there. Oh, let me kick cardboard live here real quick. Sometimes it disconnects and doesn't tell me. Alright, don't questing beast me. Deal. Yeah, weird. It was disconnected and didn't tell me. There's 27 lands in here, so... It wasn't your refresh. You just must have refreshed at the same time you must have refreshed at the same time that I reloaded it. Yeah, depending on the matchup steal, that's definitely true. Something I thought about at the end of the last time we played that deck was playing more copies of the 3-mana discard spell. That's also a land instead of a Hager's Mauling. What do I want to cut here? So, Authority, Baffling End, Extra Protection, Day of Judgment all sound great. I think we do at least one Narset out and the Vetoes come out. Is it possible that we like board down on Shark Typhoons here? Would I rather have Narsets or Shark Typhoons? I feel like I'd rather have Narsets because Narset helps us impulse into these to have them consistently on curve. Let's trim one Lapse and two Typhoons. Oh, you know what? Commit's probably not very good. I'd probably rather have a Lapse than a commit. I kind of really like Time Warp as just an explore type effect. 26 months ago, I watched you and Matt play a bunch of Jund on YouTube, and here we are. What's going on, Pearl Trident? Thank you for the 26 months. Soulstar, I think I almost missed your 39. I apologize. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. You always mention a split between Wrath of Judge and Day of Judgment is correct. Why is there a 4-0 split here? Because a viewer sent me this deck list, and I bet they didn't have cards for Day of Judgment. I didn't think hard enough about the deck this morning to realize we should split them. Good morning, Sodded. Thank you for the 19 months. Welcome back to Outlandia, Zandra. We're happy to have you. To the person that asked, yeah, Day of Judgment and Wrath of God are literally the exact same card in this format currently. Regeneration doesn't exist on Arena yet. So, you should technically always split them 2 and 2 if you're only playing 4, 3 and 2 if you have 5 like we have, because it's strictly correct to do so. For things like Meddling Mage and Test of Talent and other things like that. Alright, we've done. That went about as I'm expecting. So, one of the things that's true about these decks is that, sorry, the reason why you're supposed to split those is because of cards like Meddling Mage, Test of Talent, and things like Silver Coal Silencer. One of the things that's true about these blue-white decks is they always feel better to play than they actually are. Because when you're playing a deck like this, and you lose a game, like those first 2 games, right? Like, we lost the first match 0-2, and it took us like 6 minutes to lose 2 games. But if we win 1 game with this deck is so long and brutal when it wins, that when we win with this deck, our first game win will probably take 10 or even 15 minutes, which means when we win our first game, we will have spent twice as long winning the first game as we did losing the first 2 games. So even though our record is technically worse, the ratio of time we spent winning is better. So from an emotional perspective, these decks feel very satisfying to play because even if you don't win a ton of raw number of matches, you spend an incredible amount of time actually winning games as opposed to losing games. When you look at it on the timer. Yeah, you're right. You have to ride the high of winning for a long time, especially on Magic Arena where people don't value their time and they don't concede when they're locked out of the game. Number of people that think that like they're getting the control deck by making them play it out is incredibly high. Took white red midrange from bronze to diamond yesterday and only lost like 5 games. That nice, Genesis. Yeah, that one. I posted a tweeter in the subs Discord too, but we can talk about it here as well. I've requested a whole bunch of banners to start adding historic deck lists back up to my website. So that's going to be something that's going to be happening again sometime soon. As time permits. So if you have deck lists that you think should be up there, I'm going to have to figure out exactly what all I want to put up there. Fringe Devil, thank you for the 15 months. Welcome back. I think I might do I think I might do something a little bit different with the deck list on my website this time through compared to what I've done in the past. I think I'm going to... Oh no. I guess this is fine because I want this untapped for Time Warp and Teferi next turn, right? I think I'm gonna put like actual meta decks up there, even ones that I haven't played yet, just so people can quickly reference my preferred versions of the established decks, and then try and make a point to play them all eventually. Yes! Yeah, Rest in Peace is a total hoser against rogues. Jeff, random question. Have you ever played MMOs? And if so, what have you played? I spent an incredible amount of time, probably close to 4 digits worth of hours, playing Guild Wars 1 when I was in high school and undergrad. Growing up, we couldn't afford subscription-based games like World of Warcraft. We were lucky to have computers that could play games, so... Guild Wars was a single-time purchase that you could play as much as you wanted, as opposed to having to pay $15 per month. Or whatever it cost back then.
Now what?
One of your finest Wrath of Gods, please. Or Day of Judgments. Ghast Explorer. Did Guild Wars have microtransactions for cosmetics? No, this was in an era before microtransactions existed as a large scale thing. Like I'm talking about like 2 decades ago. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, the gaming industry hadn't become cheap. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Is keeping the Brainstorm here better with Fabled Passage? Nah, I need to get to 7 mana for this anyways. And the Fabled Passage was currently coming into play tapped, and I really needed to find the Sweeper. And putting more cards in the bin lets me work towards Azcanta ramping me as well. Now I want to listen to Weird Al. Listen, this is probably also going to come as a surprise to many of you, but I listened to a lot of Weird Al growing up. Let's do the time warp again. There is nothing wrong with enjoying playing a good deck in Magic. You should never feel bad enjoying playing a deck of Magic. It is not your job as a player to make sure that your opponent is having fun. Your job as a player is to ensure that you are having fun. And the only wrong way to play Magic is if you are playing games and you're not enjoying yourself. Teferi's a lot worse when he costs 9 mana, chat.
You know what? I'm not done.
9 mana Teferi is a lot less exciting.
Let me know if you're up for round 2.
Gonna Memory Lapse this. It keeps him off of drawing a spell next turn. Uses my mana. Judge you unworthy, Redeem. You have been judged, and you are unworthy. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think this card's just super good in general. It's excellent against these sweeper-based control decks as well as combo decks. She's not quite Godok Teague, but she's darn close. And she's a not quite Godok Teague that's much better. That's much better than Godok Teague against all the non-combo decks in the format, which is great. Her backside comes up a lot, and the third point of toughness of the stat line is very good. Your fun equal 100 minus opponent's fun. Exactly. Exactly, Beetle. Thank you for the tier 3 and thank you for the 46 months. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. We are deep, deep into the month of March, Beansy. Thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back. Well, that's rude. Oh. Sure. That actually seems great for me, right? I thought they were gonna put it... I guess this pushes more damage, but like, 1 and 0 are like... So long as I'm not at 0, like 1 life is whatever. Alright, I would like 1 Teferi, please. Thank you, deck. Teferi, hero of Gandalf's.
Let's slow this. We need to move quickly.
Get to Brainstorm now, too? Look at how big my brain is, chat. I'm just so smart. I've cast a Brainstorm. I have put 2 lands back on top of my deck. I will shuffle afterwards. And they say the perfect Brainstorm doesn't exist. Castle equal garbage time. Yeah, probably, actually. You want me to phase you out of time? I do, Teferi. I do want you to phase me out of time. That would be great. Thank you for asking. Phase me. Phase me, daddy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got a Day of Judgment here, right? How long is the wait for a $50 donation? I am scheduled to be done with the deck queue today. I'm planning to do 5 decks today. So, a $50 donation would be up tomorrow at this point, Seth. So this taxes my activations on their turn, which is real annoying. Which includes cycling, so... I do appreciate a good dad joke usually, Dan, and unfortunately, I currently have to, I'm currently clicking vigorously. Drop some Narset down here. Honestly, we might be just tucking in this 2-1 here.
Like wind and wave.
As we cling for dear life. Ooh, there's a Shark Typhoon. I think that's the plan. So I think we go tuck you, and then we'll make a token, and then next turn we can go tuck you, play Shark Typhoon, play Teferi, make a shark. Daddy Shark. And see, chat, just like that, remember when I said we were going to spend 15 minutes winning our first game? We spent 12 minutes winning that game. So even though we've currently lost more games than I've won, we've spent more time winning than we've spent losing. Because that's how being a Gandalf works. So even though our record isn't great yet, our time spent winning on the clock is greater than our time spent losing. For we are a powerful wizard, a master of the time stream. I think Authority of the Consuls comes in here against white aggro. They don't have haste creatures. We just like bring in the Baffling End, the extra protection, the extra sweeper. I'll leave the first borrow in. I don't think I want the second though. We've also played more Magic than our opponents and drawn more cards, which is the best part of it, yeah. Has white ever had a haste creature? Yeah, I believe so. Probably something time shifted that had a haste creature. Thank you for taking time to upload to YouTube. See you in the land of 1.75 speed. Thanks for dropping off your Prime. Glad you enjoyed the YouTube stuff, Chalky. You'll be wearing a yellow hat soon enough. Wow. Wizard. Don't Tithe Taker or Thalia me. Don't do it. It's not great for us, but it's better than Tithe Taker or Thalia, so we'll take it, chat. Beggars shan't be choosers. Playing Reanimator, and wow, does it eat the Mastery decks alive? Yeah. Yeah, anything trying to cast 4+ mana spells the Flash deck just chews up and spits out. Do we Brainstorm lock ourselves here? If we miss a land, if we're gonna miss a land drop next turn, we're gonna Brainstorm, yeah. Nailed it. Now, the problem here is that we're in danger. That's the problem. Problem is that we're taking a lot of damages here. And they've got a Faceless Haven, and like Thalia's coming down. So I actually have to start holding up Teferi's protection this turn, right? I have to shock to do it. OG Achroma had haste. Yeah, there's a throwback to my childhood. OG Achroma was really good. We didn't play Doomblades because Doomblades weren't fun, chat. We're in danger. I mean, the 5th land is great. Means I get to cast Fog into land Wrath of God. They should definitely be putting this counter on Faceless Haven. Man, mana tithe me, daddy. I technically should have done that in response to... I should have done that before they attacked, so that way they had to tap the Faceless Haven to mana tithe me. The opponent's playing like weenie taxes. Alright, so we need to draw untapped land next turn, so that way we can go Teferi Hero of making people sad into making people sad. These Faceless Havens are not gonna go quietly into the night though. Alright, second shot at a land. Whatever he says.
I know what must be done. You know what? I'm not done.
Hey yo. I say hey yo, Teferi, come and phase me out. I say Tef gives his protection. Do 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 do. Goodbye. Run away! Ah, gods, run! It's the Thalia.
Keep up the pace.
So we had 4 more looks at another fog.
Those who cannot proceed.
Because Teferi's gonna untap 2 lands here.
Prepare.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. If they didn't have the Thalia in play, we could Shark Typhoon into a fog, but alas. It was Wrath plus Shark Typhoon to block Haven a play. They had a dog to make something indestructible, and they had a Danto Vanguard in play. So Wrath of God literally dealt 4 damage to them and only killed a 1/1. So no. Well, I guess technically you're correct that that was a play I could make, but it would cause me to lose the game. It wasn't a good play, but it was a legal play. I guess it depends on what you're going for. I usually take the line that loses me the game. It's a bold strategy that many don't fully appreciate. No 2-mana play. Well, golly. Oh boy. Oh boy. No 2-mana play and then a Memory Lapse? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Gideon Blackblade. Gideon's so nice, I think they can draw it twice. I'm the bad man. How about thrice, chat? Would they like to draw it thrice? Draw lane. Try and draw lanes here. I don't think we're a garbage time at all. Us missing a land drop here. We could be big trouble. They have the Selfless Savior here to make my Day of Judgments awkward. I don't know, they might take the Warp or the Judgment here too. Like the lapse I can still hold up next turn, so like it doesn't really do a ton. Yeah, I'm kind of into them like taking the thing that's not like the others here. We get a split second board wipe. I don't know about that one. For people wondering, just as a reminder on Field of Ruin, this cannot target basic lands. So I am unable to shuffle my library currently. It's not a legal play. Second 3-mana white planeswalker. Well, that's just rude.
Love is your shield.
How bad these sweepers are here, huh? Woof. Woof. Do they get to know? They do not. So when you cast a card like Brainstorm that lets you choose to remove cards from your hand, you'll notice all of the eyes showing a card is revealed disappear from my hand. So thank you for the 2 months, Rafe. I appreciate that. We'll come back. I keep missing. I don't know if the notifications are not popping up in chat or what the deal is. I'm just missing them because I'm blind this morning. They're like appearing in my little ticker, but they're not. It's one of the things Arena does really well, communicating to you which cards your opponent knows about, which ones they don't. So
This is getting rough.
I think we just hit this. No, Field of Ruin can only target my opponent's lands. So Field of Ruin is just a colorless land on this current board. Sladness, thank you for the 10 months. Welcome back. Appreciate the prime. Good morning. Almost said afternoon. It's definitely morning.
I trust in your abilities. Together we can banish evil from this plane. Your light will cleave the darkness.
Shark Typhoon does say mana value in client. All older cards are errata in the digital client to have the latest wording. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. So I muted and hid myself so that wasn't on camera. And I literally just don't have a play here. Well, Cardboard Live shows paper versions of cards, I believe, as reference materials, and paper versions of cards won't receive errata. Yeah, my only play that does anything here is casting Memory. Well. We're 1 in 4 in games now, but the one game we won felt really good. I really don't understand how we've made it to 2021 and the dark mode version of things aren't the default on all these applications, especially like a gaming site like Twitch. How is light mode the default? Who makes those decisions? AI Tiak, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Boomers, probably. I don't know. I can't like. I have to imagine like Twitch has got to be millennials, Zoomers, and Gen X's mostly at this point, right? I'd be incredibly surprised if. I'd be incredibly surprised if Twitch was predominantly boomers. Very tired product managers. That's probably the answer. People who are overworked and underpaid. Because they want you to make an account so you can turn it off. That might actually be the truth. Sliding scale boomers means the oldest people on a platform. That's true. I do generically, at this point in my life, I do generically use the term boomer and zoomer for people that are old or young. Well, your brother in his early 20s will burn his eyes out on the light mode. And when he gets to a point where the light starts giving him headaches, like people get to eventually who use screens constantly, he'll change over. Yeah, Luris Naya Arcanus tier. I wonder if there's something like Featherless Feather. It's kind of like happily sitting here taking my licks. Yeah, let's not make jokes about mental illness in my chat. Please and thank you. Yeah, exactly that, right, Fall? Blue light filter and dark mode. That's what I've talked about this before, but my glasses actually aren't prescription. They're just blue light filtering glasses. Yeah, I don't remember the brand. They don't pay me anymore to remember the brand. What are they? Felix Gray. At one point, a sponsored product that I still use. Yeah, they're good enough that I'll give them a plug despite them no longer giving me money. Why is a blue light filter helpful? I'd encourage you to, it's a complex topic that I don't know all the nuances of offhand, so I'd encourage you to look it up online, as opposed to me trying to repeat things back to you and likely getting some of it wrong. No, they're not the gunner glasses, so if you look at them, they're not, the gunner glasses are like this weird yellow, but the technologies come forward. These are far from the only brand or company that makes them. These don't actually like turn your vision like weird and orange, which is the big upside. Like for the record, blue light filtering glasses, blue light filtering glasses work very similar to just putting the blue light filter on your actual software side, but it doesn't change the coloring. I think I was going to go ahead and phase out here rather than letting Teferi get ambushed. So if you're someone that even doesn't want to buy something and you haven't like enabled the nightlight or flux or something like that on your computer, the nightlight is even built into Windows these days.
Let's skip to the good part.
You make the gods very angry, opponent. Do I drink energy drinks? I do not. Not a fan. Actually, it was funny when I was part of the esports organization Tempo Storm. They were sponsored by Red Bull. And Red Bull, I used to get sent a case of Red Bull every month because of their sponsorship. And I genuinely don't know how Red Bull stays in business because I literally could not give Red Bull away. Like I'd have people, like, whenever we'd have friends over for game nights or whatever, I'd be like, hey, do you drink Red Bull? Do you, like, want some free Red Bull? And my mother-in-law works at a bar. She's a bartender, and we ended up giving it to her. Apparently it's good for mixed drinks, so maybe mixed drinks is the answer to who drinks Red Bull. I would believe that. So we gave it to her to take to her bar. Okay, but like, what if instead we didn't hurt my Teferi? It's the #1 seller at our gas station. Wild. Reckless Rage. All right, can you get this up to 7? Blossoming Defense here would do it. Invigorated Rampage. I feel you, opponent. Teferi's definitely a card that makes people go on Invigorated Rampages.
How long do you want to wait?
You are not alone in feeling like you need to go on a rampage against Teferi. I don't think we're quite at a point where I can hardcast the second Typhoon yet. We're getting there though. Slow and steady. Get a little bit more defense built up here. Oh no, not my Shark Typhoon. Until your next turn, your life total. So what if I just Teferi's Protection here in response? It saves my shark, it makes me another shark, it means they can't hit my stuff. Thank you for phasing me out of time, Teferi. I appreciate you. My opponent agrees it was a good play. My opponent agrees it was a good play. Alright, so Veto out probably. They probably have, like, God's Willings or Fightist ones in their deck, making Day of Judgment awkward, but I also just need things that play to the board here, I think. Narset's probably pretty bad here. They probably kill her quite frequently. Maybe I don't want the 4th Typhoon, just leave 3 in. Ooh, I guess. Clever Lumamancer. Pedro, Magical, and Beer. Pedro, Magical, and Beer. What Twitch usernames? Good morning, Pedro. Danto Vanguard. So nice they can draw it twice. Look at this clever Lumamancer here. Just sitting there looking powerful. Having a ton of fun with Miracle Grow. Yeah, it was a great submission. Really enjoyed that one yesterday. You enjoy cute tempo decks, you'll love that one. Thanks for the follow, Dave. Good morning. How about Thrice? So nice you drew it thrice. Still sitting there looking clever. Hey, Ghosted, thanks for the 25 months. Good morning, morning. Am I gaining 5 with this? I don't think I am. So far my opponent has cast 1 mana O1s, an actual factual Grizzly Bear. Which does not seem particularly exciting. And this card is a lot worse than Soulscar Mage, and when Swift Spear comes in, this card, like, a lot of people are, like, really high on this card at the start of the season. And it's proven to be real mediocre so far in all the my games with and against it. Robang, thank you for the 5 months. Welcome back. Wow! They're afraid of Settle the Wreckage, chat. There's fear in their dojo. Alright, looking for untapped lands here. So do I Teferi and then die if they draw a spell and I don't draw a land? I think so. This might be wrong. Like, if I hit the land here, we're just so far ahead.
I'm not gonna save this one. You know what? I'm not done.
It's wrong, though. I mean, like, when this card's good, it's great. It's just a lot worse than a card. Like, so the best way to think about this card in comparison to something like Monastery Spear is that this card, you have to cast 2 spells in a turn for it to be better than Monastery Spear or Soulscar Mage. And even then, that one turn it's better when you cast 2 spells has to offset all of the turns it was much worse. Which is a tall ask. This is the part where we take extra turns and fog them a bunch. And eventually ult our Teferi, right? Are we the baddies? I am, in fact, the bad man at the moment. Don't mind me. I'll just be over here taking some turns, chat.
You know what?
Dark Storm, thank you for the entire year of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Welcome back. Alright, so now I get to play Shark Typhoon. And then Teferi's gonna untap some lands, and then he's gonna phase us out of time, because he's a good dude. Dear Teferi, please phase me out of time. What do you think? Concession protection? Goodbye, friend. On the scoreboard, chat. We see any Soul Scar Mage out of that opponent? We didn't, but I'd be surprised if they didn't have it. Must be a bug and phased out our opponent. That's how much you check. That's how much you check the client. I tuned in to an opponent conceding to an unplayable card in the stack, which is really the spirit of this channel. Morning, Klets. I think Teferi's protection is low-key super reasonable. It's like Fog without having to splash green in my deck. A timeout and account BW Panda? Of course. You currently have 87 timeouts on your account. Closing in on the big hundo, 99 plus. Hi Mo, good morning. They foretelled a black-green card. Okay. Now you have 71 timeouts, Barcode. What happens at 100 timeouts? It's just a badge of honor. Ugh. Ugh. Memory lapsing people who are missing land drops, chat. You know what they say, opponent? Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. Keep at it, champ. You'll get it. You'll get it next time, I bet. Nope, JK. Listen, chat, I don't know that these decks are good, but like, games like that where you're just like full bully, that's why people play these decks, chat. Just absolute full bully. I don't know what our opponent's doing. They could be some kind of brew. They're probably a deck that counter spells are good against. I feel like putting them on Sultai missing blue is probably accurate. I think I'm going to cut the protections and board in these. I'm trim A Sweeper for now too. I'll board these out if we confirm they're on Sultai, but on the off chance they're a creature deck, I don't want to cut all my sweepers. Did I submit 61? Listen, chat. That's fine. Confirmed Sultai. I'm supposed to hold up a blue to counter like a search for Azcanta or something here. Probably. Wouldn't have countered Brainstorm. That one would have resolved. I think I just let their ramp happen here. Dispute's going to be live for a little while in this matchup, so just hang tight. Fingers crossed both Joe Biden and Donald Trump will feel too old to run in 2028. Biden technically hasn't committed to one way or the other if he's running. But ideally neither of them. They're both too old. Almost everyone in the Democratic primary was too old. 24? Sure, yeah, 24. Whatever the next one is. Yeah, they should definitely both be out by 28. Nine? Yeah, I should have disputed more aggressively. I'm dead here. So I don't want to YOLO Teferi into mana here. Let's do this as a test spell. The average age of Democratic leadership in the House is 74 plus. Is that accurate? Can you link a source on that, HR Beck? I know it's old, but man, 74 seems higher than I would have expected. Pete Buttigieg is probably one of the best public speech givers I've seen in my lifetime. The man is very eloquent when he speaks. Thanks for the link, Chloe. Average house leadership by party. Oh, that's leadership. Leadership is different than the average. I'll have to look at that later. I appreciate the link, though. Honestly, I think I just want the extra time warp here, because there's a chance we're gonna have to shuffle away whatever the second card is here to cast a veto. But the time warps means I get extra. The time warps mean I get extra Teferi counters. Oh, that link's 3 years old. And so it says they've updated it for the 117th Congress. Yeah. It says there's an asterisk at the top that says it was originally for 115 and it was updated for 117. Yeah, that's basically what it's been, Andrew. It's like Fog that doesn't lose to Questing Beast and Bonecrusher Giant. I unfortunately don't have another counter here, but This lets me cast my Teferi, which sounds great. I just have to hope they don't have, like, Thought Seize plus payoff next turn now.
If you show remorse, let's skip to the good.
It could have been right to burn the Veto there, but, like, we weren't getting a better opportunity to use the Dispute, so I kind of wanted to get a card out of them. And, like, getting a counterspell out of them there meant that my Teferi got to resolve this turn. We technically haven't seen Ultimatum out of them yet, but they could very well still likely be an Ultimatum deck. Morning Anima, thanks for the follow. You cannot time yourself out. I am the only person that can time out a mod, so whenever you see a mod get timed out, I did it personally. Like that. I bin this, we get to flip the Azcanta.
We need to move quickly.
Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So can't quite Time Warp and Shark Typhoon this turn.
Keep up the pace.
Oh, what a... Easy game, easy life. Not quite a taking turns deck, but also kind of a taking turns deck. Let's make people miserable. Teferi makes people miserable. He makes people miserable when we cast the Time Walks. Time Walks. Do 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 do. Alright, well. My deck's like, Jeff, you like Teferis, do you, Jeff? Have some more Tefafas. Peace was never an option for the Goose Chap. Is Brainstorm the reason you can keep 2 landers with this deck? I mean, you can keep 2 lands Brainstorm, yeah. For sure. Smell that, chat? Smells like collected company. Excuse me? Excuse me? Well, I hope we get another turn. So the Citadel Company sacrifice decks were actually a thing for a brief moment. They weren't playing Tendrils at that time, though. A little bit of an update here with the Storm cards. Why the board wipe over Teferi's protection? Because next turn, if I get a next turn, I can Teferi plus and play Teferi's protection. And that's lethal rate. They activate. Yeah, that's plenty lethal. The opponents keep clicking here a little bit. They can also activate the Citadel to kill us. Alright, so we need vetoes here. We also need the sweepers. Narset gets attacked down. Your Flash got me to top 200 today. Congrats, silly cheese. Archetype is sweet. I mean, the opponent won on turn 5. Not unreasonable. Fresh Bud, good morning. Thank you for the follow. I don't think Authority's likely to win the game here. Like, Tendrils lets them go way over the top. If they weren't on Tendrils, I think Authority would probably be good, because I think you're right, Authority keeps them from killing us with Citadel activations. But, like, with Tendrils, I think they're going to, generally speaking, go way far over the top. Yeah, I want the last protection. Sounds good. I agree with that. Brazen actually seems okay, too, huh? You get to go ahead and just, like, pick their Citadel up after they play him. Does Lapse go with the Citadel? So you want the Lapse for the Citadel itself. Lapse is very good against your opponent casting big, expensive spells. So, well, obviously, while the Citadel's in play, Lapse isn't good. You want Lapse before you get to that point. Oh, do I have cages in my board? Did I not board in cage? No, I don't, right? I have rest in pieces. Are there cages in the board? I'm gonna feel dumb if I left cage in the board. No, there's no cages in the board. I just got rest in peace. Yeah, cage does stop creatures off a Citadel. To be fair to Seth Manfield, if you read the actual word Seth wrote, I don't believe Seth says point blank he thinks the card is too good. He talked about a lot of cards that made things good and historic. And I would, like, for people that aren't familiar who haven't done rating before, authors don't always get to choose their headline. And, like, the headline of Brainstorm's too good for modern definitely generates more clicks. So I wouldn't be surprised if an editor jazzed that one up, for lack of a better term. Playing the untapped land here so I can veto plus Memory Lapse or spell next turn. Historic, whatever. Yeah, Brainstorm is too good for modern. There's too many formats, chat. Correct. Yes, that's exactly correct, Pass. And the editor did a good job with that title because the second day chat's talking about the article. People, speaking as someone who doesn't explicitly clickbait most of his content, like, for as much as people complain about clickbait, man, do they fall victim to it. Makes me sad to do that, but I want to just try and hit a land here. So if we bin the top card of our deck next turn, we get to flip Azcanta. Joke's on you, opponent. I have backup. Let me tell 50 people about why they should ignore this article. Yeah, exactly. It works significantly better. It's why all their videos come out with clickbait titles and then they get changed in the future. Oh, that's a good idea. That's very clever. You clickbait the title to start and then you change it after the fact so it's informative and easier to find through searches. I've been trying to put like cutesy style things in my titles or in my thumbnail titles and not the actual title of the video, but yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense based on human behavior.
You know what? I'm not.
All right, and then we're done here, right? I'm just gonna cast a couple of time walks while my Teferi's in play.
We need to move quickly.
And this land tier means that I get to untap 2 lands. I get to activate Azcanta before I take my next turn. Yeah, there are bait and switch, exactly right. For the 23 months, Ace, welcome back. All right, and the game's over.
You know what?
Did we have fun?
Not done.
It's just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Are you not entertained? By the way, for everybody currently watching, I would just like to apologize in advance to those of you who are going to have to play against other people playing this deck on the ladder after this set of games. I feel responsible for having unleashed this plague onto the community, but also sorry, not sorry. I think extra turn spells are bad design. I had someone argue with me that they think Time Walk is broken because it breaks the fundamental rules of the game. Well, I think the argument that cards that break the rules of the game are bad designs is silly, because all of the sweetest, best designs in Magic fundamentally break the rules of the game in some way, shape, or form. Cards basically solely exist as rules text to break the rules of the game. Now, that being said, do I think Time Walk is a bad design is a separate discussion from that, and probably one worth having. I don't know. I think in a format like Historic, it's probably fine. I think the power level of Time Walk is like fine for this format. Like, basically, my for Historic is that Historic maintains what we were told Modern would be, in that I hope this format is an actual turn 4 format. That's my hope. And so long as
Right on schedule.
so long as the games aren't ending before that approximate turn, I think that's fine. Modern became kind of stained because Modern veered into, you know, turn 2, turn 3 kills, even occasionally turn 1 kills in the back of Simian Spirit Guide.
Keep up the pace.
One of the best ways, so we talked about this before, but honestly, I think one of the best ways to think about it too is that, like, you know, you think about, okay, what does, like, you look at a combo deck like Mizzix's Mastery, and you're like, man, this seems really unfair. It kills the opponent on the 4th turn of the game while they're still at 20 life. But, like, even honest aggro decks are ending the game on the 4th turn. So long as the combo decks aren't ending things before then, I think that's more than reasonable. I should have time walked last turn to push the Teferi up.
You know what? I'm not done.
I think there's definitely an argument to be made, Pelly, that, like, Magic intentionally pushes designs like that because that's what they want their game to be. They've had a lot of time to develop what their game is. I definitely agree. I agree with you that, like, these Magic, to me, has made a very clear decision deciding thing that they think play patterns that people find frustrating are good to have in the game because other people really like those play patterns. Seems to be like their official position on those types of things. The game is over. Yeah, I think we've hit garbage time at this point. I'm gonna veto this Coco. I suppose my opponent could go land Citadel and kill us next turn. Maybe I'm supposed to bounce that.
You out of time? No time for a break.
Oh, I could just borrow the Citadel. Yeah, that's true. Opponent has concluded they can no longer win the game. That's probably an accurate summary. I think Jeskai Ascendancy may introduce turn 3 combos somewhat frequently when it's introduced. I don't know that I agree with that. As someone who's played a lot of Jeskai Ascendancy, the turn 3 kills with that deck are pretty few and far between. And honestly, the lack of Sylvan carry added, yeah, like Paradise Druid gives you a window to kill things. Hey, good games, Bungo. JC only killed on turn 4 earliest in Pioneer. Is that true? I mean, like, even similar to talking about clickbait articles, you know, when people talk about things that are polarizing, it means people are talking about your game, for lack of a better term. So, like, you know, even going back to, you know, the article people talk about, well, that article was clickbait. Yeah, but you're still talking about it 2 days later, right? So the title accomplished what its goal was, and that, like, you're still talking about it. Like, when you create polarizing moments and you create play patterns that people are discussing days, years, months later, you know, think about the Magic stories you tell people down the line. It's about your bad beat or your good beat or whatever happened to you. Most of your great Magic stories, if you've been playing for a long time, I tend to be centered around things that would probably be considered toxic from a design standpoint.
I have practiced against many foes lately, with thoughtfulness before action.
There can't be highs without the lows for those part. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I'll be talking for years about my opponent naturally drawing tainted pack combo. Yup. Big mood. What deck or decks would I recommend? It depends on, so Historic's a format where what I could recommend to you really depends on what your goals are in terms of what you're looking to get out of the format. And that, questions like that are why I'm looking forward to having decks back up on my website again. Because getting decks back up on the website means I can just refer people there, so that way they can look and figure out what they want to get out of the format. So, I time warped last turn attempting to use it as an explorer, because when I hit this land here like this, it means that I get to Teferi's protection off of the 2 lands that I untap. Like linear decks, they combo splashed in. I'd recommend checking out the what's it called deck, the red white combo tokens deck. Tokens do phase back in. Maybe I didn't want this, maybe I didn't want this Mystic Sanctuary. I guess I have 3rd island now? No, I wanted the Mystic Sanctuary, right? Because the 3rd island means that I get to go ahead and play this and put Time Warp on top of my... No, fuck. I was like, I don't remember casting 3 Time Warps.
You know what? I'm not done.
That's fine. We have Teferi's protection. It'll be okay.
Hurry!
I'd say I feel bad about what we just did to that opponent, but they're playing auras, so I don't. Phased out lands cannot produce mana, no. Narset's okay here. She stops them from drawing. We trim some Shark Typhoons. I like commit because it can take all the enchantments off the thing, even though we're building in Rest in Peace. I think search is fine. I like that search can I like that search can help smooth out our draws, even if it doesn't flip over. Baffling End's probably fine here. I want like a Shark over the one Memory Lapse. Card's pretty mediocre on the draw. Could be that I want all the sweepers though too, because these beat Day of Judgment, or with Rest in Peace, these beat their Kaya's Ghost forms. Wait, does this beat Kaya's Ghost form? It doesn't, right? No, I'm wrong, right? Because Kaya's Ghost form certificate would be exiled too. This isn't good. No. We're on 2 Wrath and 3 Day of Judgment versus 4 and 1 of the other. I split the sweepers. Honestly, it's funny. When they spoiled Day of Judgment, I said it. I hated it as a spoiler because I was gonna have to answer this question. Because of Meddling Mage and cards like Silver Quill, Silencer, it is strictly correct to split these because regeneration doesn't exist on this platform. The nickname, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. It's a nice one to draw. Well, Kaya's Ghost form isn't really a combo card so much as it's a protection card for their archetype. They put it on their creatures to prevent us from killing them. So Kaya's Ghost form says if their card would be exiled or die, it instead comes back into play. Ghost form is a big part of what makes their deck playable. Down how many basics they're playing? Probably plenty. They're 2 colors. Would Condemn be a good addition to Destroy? Condemn's probably fine. It's only attacking creature, right? Morning, Foster. Think we do this turn. Because we're likely not dead this turn. We're going to get to play Teferi plus Hold Up Protection the following turn, assuming no discard spells. That's a big assumption. They're going to get to draw a lot of cards this turn. If they put enough pressure into play here that we have to protection, we're probably dead. But if they don't get up to 18 points here and we need them to not get to 18 and we need them to not discard spell us, which is a pretty big ask. I'm aware. I'm kicked out, Chip. It is, the actually police are correct, it is 19. Oh, Magic players. I posted something on Twitter about the Magic Arena economy the other day, and some nerd responded letting me know that Magic Arena doesn't technically have an economy because it's closed. And it's like, man, flippin' Magic players and their desire to be pedantic. It's technically resets them, right? Teferi tucking Spirit Dance are not good enough. Teferi's my win condition. So ideally, I'd like to not trade my Teferi to stay alive. I think they're unlikely to kill us this turn, but, you know, we'll see. I said unlikely, not impossible. The opponent's archetype actually doesn't play many or any copies of Glitters all that more. They're more of like a grindy mid-range deck than an all-in aggro deck these days. So another 1 mana enchantment gets them there here. I'm not dead yet. All right, and then another sweeper cleans their board, right? Gosh, we're so close. We died to that. We died to the Saram. I like Rest in Peace in this matchup. Want these lapses on the play. Hey, thanks for the tip, Seth. Dashboard still loading. Yeah, this looks great. Let's run back 5 color Niv Ephemerate. We want main deck Helix after playing more games. Sounds good. I will add that in and I will take a peek at the mana base and we'll start with that first thing tomorrow morning. What would it take to make Reanimator style decks more competitive? Have you seen the Mardu Dragon Reanimator deck we've played, Kooks? I think that deck's super reasonable. It's one of the ones I plan to put up on my website to start. I think it's very reasonably competitive. Yeah, Flame Shield, it's funny. One of my buddies. No, yeah, that was the Time Warp version. I explicitly said the Time Warp version felt worse than the Mardu one. One of the things you gotta understand about Historic and the way these non-legacy formats play out is like Reanimator decks are never like legacy style Reanimator decks in these formats. They're a lot more fair than that, for lack of a better term. Like a Burial Rites versus Reanimate is night and day. A turn 4 format implies that the average game ends on turn 4 when there's aggressive decks involved.
Past, present, keep an open mind.
This card's low-key really good here, especially with these borrowers in hand. Technically, decks like Gruul and Mono Red can kill on the 3rd turn for reference. Pair borrowers, read 'em and weep. Yeah, the backside basically being literal time walk is real strong. Wow, we bounced my Narset. Send that back from whence it came.
Meditate and prepare.
Doesn't really accomplish anything. JK, it's great. It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. Do 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 do. I'm trying to build Mardu vehicles, and I keep opening mythics instead of regular rares. Rough. Small fish problems. Is this deck actually good? I mean, you can win games with it. Like, that's again, like, that's the big thing you need to understand about formats like this. Decks cannot be amazing and still be plenty playable.
Hurry.
Hurry. They did so much damage to themselves, we're actually going to kill them with these borrowers this game, which is kind of funny. It is the meeting that never ends. It should have been email. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I mean, Borrower is explicitly very good in this matchup. I agree this card's mediocre in a lot of places, though.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, in fact, we're just getting ready to wrap up with this one. So, blue-white control with a ton of time walks in it. Not only actual factual time warp here, but also, you know, 4 copies of Teferi protection between the main deck and the sideboard. And this card was really good. It's basically a fog that you don't have to splash into green for. And it beats cards like Questing Beast and Bone Crusher Giant. And more importantly, it's a fog that, like, stops you from dying to random things like, you know, Grape Shot and Tendrils of Agony and other non-combat forms of damage in ways that win the game. This card's also really funny against other taking turns decks because this phases all your stuff out until the beginning of your next turn. So like if your opponent's like time warping a bunch, you could just like, all right, Teferi's protection, you take all the turns you want, all of my stuff is gonna be, yeah, it's a counter spell too, right? Like we used it to stop people from playing removal spells on our planeswalkers. We used it from people trying to hurt our Shark Typhoon. Like we did a lot of stuff. So one thing that this deck did really well, something we've often said is, you know, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is a card that I've often described as if your opponent activates this card 2 or 3 times, you should probably concede because the game is over. And with these time warps and Teferi's protections, these really help you make sure that when you get this into play, you're going to get to activate it 2 or 3 times. A really common play pattern that we ended up doing with this deck is, especially against decks that played to the board, we waited till turn 6 to play Teferi, so that way you could play Teferi plus him, untap 2 lands, have a 3rd, and then use Teferi's protection to protect himself. And then you do that, protect him from dying in combat, and then start time warping the following turn to push through. So, you know, I don't know if this is better than the other blue-white control decks that are running around, but it feels like it has a reasonable, cohesive game plan. And if you like the idea of what this deck is doing, it doesn't seem like a terrible place to be.